dispositivo di input sembrerebbe andare. Sì, prova, ok, c'è. Il gioco ovviamente è craccato, quindi non funziona un cazzo. Non lo si vede. Ok, ce lo spariamo così, nello stesso. Ok, va bene, ci sto. Allora, a questo punto però lo metto senza cattura schermo perché sennò si vede anche la merda. E così sia. Kerbal 2, almeno penso sia così. Sì, molto bellino, l'ho sempre voluto provare. Non mi era mai riuscito. Questo si fa piccolo, questo si chiude e si va su Kerbal. Simulazione di astronavi, tema ironico. Vediamo anche impostazionare schermo intero verticale, che c'è tutto su alto ovviamente, sì dai. Un gioco che forse usa più il processore per la simulazione. Si inizia una nuova campagna, fanculo. Esplorazione, modalità di gioco, esplorazione, difficoltà normale o sandbox. Costruisci la tua agenzia spaziale, inizia in piccolo, comincia una collezione di lontani parti e ti completa la missione per ottenere scienza dalla scienza, sbloccano le parti nel centro, ricerca e sviluppo. Esplora l'universo senza limiti, tutte le parti sono disponibili da subito. Ricerca e sviluppo e controllo missioni non sono disponibili. Ma io andrei a far spararmi subito il sandbox. Forse mi fa fare qui un tutorial. Nome campagna. Dio cane. Dio cane. Dio cane Stellaris. Agenzia spaziale del Kerbal. Agenzia. Dio cane. Bandiera colori. A caso, no. Ah, questa è bellina. Un po' Atari. Ah, questo. Ah, qui c'è la tastiera italiana. Neanche questi può contenere. Ah, vedi, questi sì. Ho sbagliato io.
Your new space program, leaping forward into the cosmos. Since the dawn
Ma
of
c'era l'italiano?
we have looked to the sky and wondered what sublime mysteries lie hidden in the darkness, like jewels never beheld. These untold treasures may soon reveal themselves due to the efforts recently founded Kerbal Space.
Oh my, I think that might have been the only copy of the orientation film. Hold on, slides, somewhere. Welcome to your first day running the Kerbal Space Program. This campus hosts the greatest ever gathering of astronomers, astronauts, and engineers. After years of focused effort,
Cazzo, mi scappa da cacare,
has
porco
created
Dio.
several very impressive buildings. We believe we have all the necessary pieces to take our first steps off the ground.
Online
The
sta
best way to advance our
cazzata.
technologies further is to get up there and learn by doing. All we
Oh
need
Dio
now
merda,
is somebody to
sto
show
pin
us
che
how to put all these
cazzo.
parts together. Well, we also need somebody to help us out with the flying. We need a lot of help, actually. That's why you're here.
Sì,
My name is Paige, by the way.
funziona.
If you need any hints, feel free to visit me over at the training center. Everything in there is well padded, so it's a great place to get up and running. Welcome aboard!
Allora, ti diamo il benvenuto nel centro spaziale Kerbal. A questo campo sa tutto l'occorrente per trasformare il tuo programma spaziale in erba in un'impresa leggendaria. Già che sia un programma in erba mi prende bene. Stai giocando la modalità esplorazione, ricordi di fare un salto al controllo missione, completa le missioni e bim bum 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 bam. Se vuoi cominciare a costruire immediatamente, il edificio ha sempre giovedì a tua disposizione. I nostri ingegneri hanno ideato un programma di addestramento, vi dice, può considerare le lezioni a cui l'aveva fatto. Al suo tempo l'avevo già fatto, però andiamo al centro di addestramento. Tanto bellissimo, ragazzi. Quanti ne morirà di questi omini? Loro non lo sanno neanche. Lo spazio è tutto, evitare il suolo, sì, sono... Come funzionano i rasi?
Space is the place. So you want to get to space. Have you
Sì.
tried rockets? Rockets use fuel and engines to create thrust, which propels them forward. When a fuel tank is empty, it is dropped to stay as lightweight as possible, allowing the rocket to go even faster. These tanks, as well as other expendable parts of a rocket, are called stages. Different stages do different things. Often the first stage is very powerful, with just enough fuel to get the vehicle through the atmosphere. The second stage usually has a low thrust engine that, while not
Pisciata a
powerful,
giocare
is
per i
more
pesci
fuel
sempre osso, tristi te.
After dropping the heavier first stage and leaving the atmosphere, the second stage engine pushes the much lighter second stage to orbital speed. On a flight to space, the final stage parachutes back down to the surface, ideally in one piece.
Oh, Dio merda. Cazzo. Fanculo, tanto l'ho già fatto, dai.
Welcome to the launch pad. As you embark on your journey into rocketry, it's important to get all the crashing out of your system here in the simulator. It really cuts down on the awkward phone calls. Today, you'll be launching into the virtual skies over KSP, where you'll learn how to control a rocket. Let's learn how to rotate the flight camera. That way, you can see the launch from your favorite angle. Great! You can also zoom the camera in and out. Nice! Go ahead and pick your favorite view for this launch. Your rocket is ready for launch. And every good launch starts with a big green button and lots of fire. Most bad launches do looking good. Ascend to 1,000 meters, and then we'll learn some controls. Okay, you're a kilometer up. When flying a rocket or a plane, you have specific terms for moving. Pitch tilts your rocket's nose up and down. Nice pitch. Now pitch. Let's move on. Yaw steers your rocket left and right. Try it now. Now yaw to the left, straighten up.
Veramente il joypad. Ah, il joypad.
Rotates your rocket clockwise and counterclockwise. Try it now.
Quello che funziona anche lui. C'è il gas. Ah, vedi, se tengo girato questo è visuale. Tengo girato questo mouse. È un po' strano, ci sono tutti.
That's the basics of rocket flight. Feel free to experiment with the controls. You can move on when you're ready.
Sì, comunque niente mouse, niente joypad, dai. Questo è la cosa tastiera successiva.
So you want to get to
Sì,
space.
ma
A simple rocket
razzo
requires
va
four
a
crucial
bisogno di
components:
quattro
a command
componenti
module,
cruciali, il
fuel
modulo di
tank,
comando,
engine,
serbatore
and
di
parachute.
carburanti, motore e un
Let's start by
parametro.
learning how to add a
Cominciamo
command
a
module.
imparare ad aggiungere il modulo di comando.
A command module allows us to control our vessel. As long as for this lesson, we're going to make a great. It doesn't look like much, but it's a promising start. The next thing our rocket needs is a fuel tank. How about that one? Rocketry Weekly calls it good enough. How exciting.
FLT 400, perché vedi ti scrive quello che è.
Notice the part is once again attached to your cursor. If you place your cursor near the bottom of your command pod, you'll see it snap into place. Then left click to attach
come la clicca attaccata. Tu, magnetico.
Now that's beginning to look like a rocket. Well, almost.
Serve un motore.
We need an engine. Here at the KSP, we have four different types of engines. Launcher,
Di
sustainer,
lancio, di
orbital,
sostegno
and
orbitale
deep space
spaziale,
engines. To
giustamente.
break free of Kerbin's soupy atmosphere, we want either a launcher or sustainer engine. I personally like sustainers. What can I say? They keep me going. Now let's add the sustainer engine to the fuel
Motore
tank.
di sostegno, motore arazzo, arazzo. Qui vedi di sostegno c'è scritto il primo. Razzi piccoli per un giretto. Come dice lui.
Excellent. Our rocket is looking our one Kerbal rocket doesn't weigh much, so we only need now all we need to do is put it on top. Congratulations! You've just built a rocket. Are you sure? As you start to build rockets, you'll want to see your designs from other angles. Let's learn how to manipulate the camera inside the vehicle assembly building. First, let's rotate the knives. Now let's zoom the camera in and out. Great. Now let's pan the camera up and down. You can also focus your camera at a specific
su una
part.
parte specifica clicca il pulsante centrare il mouse su una parte del veicolo per centrare la salita.
If you want to view your rocket from the top, front, or sides, switch to blueprint mode. You can change the camera's direction by selecting different sides of the view cube.
Attivare la metà progetto. Questo.
If you ever get lost in the VAB, you can always reset the camera.
Ho mancato. Se ti perdi nella puoi sempre impostare la visuale premendo il tasto Home per impostare la visuale predefinita. Quale cazzo è il tasto Home dei computer? Ma chi cazzo lo sa? Dio merda. Io il tasto Home non ce l'ho, per Dio. Ah sì, ce l'ho invece. Quindi io mi perdo un attimo nella visuale. Sempre impostare la visuale, non lo faccio perdere.
Nice. Now you can get at those hard to reach parts of your rocket.
Ho imparato a risalire uno, ma c'è da vedere progetto, ma impostare le successe via gas. Console così bellissimo.
Your rocket's ready. Let's take it out for a little. Let's move this rocket to a launch pad.
E si va su lancia.
Welcome to the launch pad. Today you'll be flying straight up. Your rocket should do fine without any steering inputs. But if things get out of line somehow, feel free to intervene. You've cleared the launch tower and your flight is underway. Let's learn about staging. Rockets are constructed in section. On your right, you'll find the staging stack. It displays all of the functions contained. Each stage's fuel supply is shown on a bar next to the stage. Your active stage, stage 1, still has a little fuel in it. When it goes dry, you'll drop that stage by selecting. Your first stage is out of fuel. All it is doing is slowing you down. To drop that weight, you're going to activate your next stage. That will activate the decoupler, which will drop your empty stage. It will also activate your next engine. Ready? Here you go. Lose that mess. Congratulations! You're nearly to space, and your next set of fuel tanks are empty. Activate the next stage. Your capsule will now continue coasting up. All that's left to do is gaze back down at Kerbin and wonder if you remembered to lock your car. Nice work! Your capsule has a lot of momentum. If you're curious how high up you are, take a look at your altimeter. You're so high that you can see the curve of rocketry involves a lot of waiting between the cool explosions. You can speed up time by selecting the time warp controls at the bottom of your screen.
Ok, giustamente. Ok, avevo il tasto punto.
Check out your altimeter. See how quickly those numbers are rising? You're about to start falling back down. Let's slow down and enjoy the view. Great job. You're now a master of time. Try not. What goes? If you deploy your parachute too early, it'll be torn off. If you deploy it too late, you'll do some unplanned underground exploration. The sweet spot for Kerbin is between 20,000 and 2,000 meters. Okay, You're low enough to activate the final stage that contains your parachute. Hit go to pop your chute.
Fino a 2000 posso arrivare. Ma diventi rossa.
Nice work. The parachute will trail your capsule for a bit without fully opening. Once you've slowed down enough, it'll open all the... Your parachute is now fully deployed and slowing the capsule to a safe velocity. Congratulations! If this were real, you'd find celebratory snacks in the VAB kitchen.
Termina la storia. Lo spazio è tutto fatto, ora c'è evidenza. Dai, abbastanza lungo, ci si spara.
Missing the ground. If you want to visit space for more than a couple of minutes, you'll need to get to
Che
orbit.
cazzo?
An object is in orbit when it's moving sideways so quickly that even as gravity causes it to fall, it keeps missing the ground. As long as that object isn't slowed down by anything, it follows the same path every time it goes around the body it's orbiting, forever. If that object is a Kerbal, it is recommended that they bring lots of snacks. So since your goal is to move horizontally at a high speed, why not launch sideways? On Kerbin, the atmosphere is like a thick soup. You waste a lot of fuel trying to fly through it horizontally. By launching vertically, you cut through the thickest part of the atmosphere as quick as possible.
Un po' di lezioni di fisica.
Most orbital rockets begin tilting toward the horizon soon after they leave the launch pad. This maneuver, called a gravity turn, uses the planet's gravity to turn the ship and reduces the amount of fuel needed to achieve a stable orbit. When launching near the equator, your gravity turns should point toward the east, since your vehicle gets a free boost from the planet's rotation. Thanks, planet! Once a vehicle is moving quickly enough that its arc will take it above the atmosphere, it shuts down its engines and coasts to space. Once it nears the top of that arc, the vehicle needs to fire its engines a second time to keep itself from falling back down to the planet. Doing this turns that arc into a nice big circle. Congratulations! You've missed the ground. When you're making a rocket, it's often easiest to work top to bottom, tailoring each stage to carry the weight of everything above it. To give you a head start, I've already placed an upper stage, perfect for maneuvering in the vacuum of space. It could use another, more powerful stage to push it up to space from Kerbin's surface. Anytime we intend to drop an empty stage after using all of its fuel, we connect it to the stage above it using a decoupler. A decoupler contains explosive bolts that, when activated, but add that decoupler to the bottom of your rocket. We need to attach a larger, more powerful lower stage to the bottom of your rocket. To keep things simple, I've whipped up a new lower stage in another workspace. You can bring saved vehicles and other subassemblies into an in-progress workspace by merging it. Let's merge my lower stage into this VAB workspace. Out in the real world, this list would show all of your saved workspaces. Here in the simulator, I'm only showing you the lower stage you need to merge. Now that the lower stage has been merged into your current workspace, you can see it next to the upper stage. Select the lower stage and connect it to the decoupler beneath the upper stage to create a single two-stage rocket. Perfect! Merging is a very powerful tool. Anytime you want to reuse a particular booster, lander, or other... Space rockets sometimes need an extra boost.
In
In a rare case of rocket scientists naming something well, these additional rockets will start by attaching 4 radial decouplers that will eject the spent boosters when they're empty. To make sure that these decouplers are evenly spaced and aligned with one another, you'll be using the symmetry tool. Great! Now when you place a part on one side of your rocket, 3 more evenly spaced duplicates will appear around the rocket. Go ahead and add 4 radial decouplers. Perfect! Now you've got 4 radial decouplers exactly where... Let's attach those solid fuel boosters. Since you're still in 4x symmetry mode, simply attach this booster to one of the decouplers you just placed. That will attach copies of that booster to the remaining decouplers. Great job! You've finished your orbital rocket. You can symmetrically place up to 8 parts at once, a feat that could until now only...
Bilanciato.
Before you launch a rocket, you need to plan the order of your staging events. Nobody wants to start out their flight by popping their parachute, right? Most parts that can be staged are automatically assigned to stages. The staging order begins at the bottom of the staging stack. You want your boosters and main engine to fire together for maximum thrust. The solid fuel boosters are currently in the second stage. If we don't change anything, the boosters will ignite late and detach themselves at the same time. This would be embarrassing for everybody. So let's move the boosters down to stage 1. Your solid fuel boosters burn very hard and very fast, so they will run out of fuel first. Even though your main engine and boosters will activate at the same time, you want to drop the empty boosters before you drop your main engine. You'll add a new stage above stage 1 to do one thing. Activate the radial decouplers to jettison your spent boosters. Now move all 4 radial decouplers from stage 4 to your new stage 2. All done. Your remaining stages are set up so that stage 4 will activate your orbital stages.
Non è così.
All right, we're ready to light this candle. In this flight, before we begin, let's talk about the nav ball. The nav ball shows your vehicle's orientation relative to the horizon. The blue half of the ball represents the sky, and the brown half represents the ground. The level indicator at the center shows your vehicle's orientation. When you turn, the ball turns. When you roll, the ball rolls. Assuming you want your rocket pointed at the sky, you'll... At launch, you want all... Your fuel levels are visible within the staging stack. Right now, you can see that your main engine and 4 boosters are all topped off and ready to rumble. It's time to go. At the start, all you need to do is fly straight up. I'll check back in with you once those boosters are empty. Good luck! All right, it's time to start your gravity turn. A gravity turn uses the pull of the planet's gravity to help bend your vertical ascent into a horizontal arc. It's the first step to entering orbit. For our first flight to orbit, first we need to get to 10,000 meters. You're going to yaw towards the east so that the target marker is in the center of the nav ball. Your vessel and nav ball should look like this example video if you're performing the gravity turn correctly. its way to orbit. As you gain experience, you can make your gravity turns more efficient by starting to tilt your rocket soon after liftoff.
Diciamo
Adjusting
quasi,
course
non
with a
era
series
proprio
of small corrections
centratissimo.
instead of one big one will leave you with a lot more fuel when you get to orbit. Right now, we're on a ballistic trajectory. If no further adjustments are made, your rocket will eventually fall back down to the ground. Our objective is to
non ci
turn this arc into an
schianteremo.
orbit. When planning and executing orbital maneuvers, you'll want to switch to map view, where you can see every part of your current trajectory. The blue arc passing through your vehicle is its current trajectory, the path your rocket will follow if you don't touch the controls anymore. Our goal is to make that arc into a circular orbit.
Quindi cado.
After you've coasted nearly to the top of this arc, you're going to point forward, and then you're going to ignite your engine. If you time this burn right, you'll never quite get to the top of the arc, as it'll keep widening in front of you until it wraps all the way around the planet. Let's break that down a little more. The top of your arc has a helpful tag in map view. It's called the apoapsis, abbreviated as AP. You're going to max out your throttle before you pass this point. We're paused at just before the apoapsis. We want to go faster in the direction we're already moving, so we need to make sure our rocket is pointed forward. There's a handy marker on your nav ball called the prograde marker. That represents your forward direction. Use the Stability Assist System, or SAS, to point your vessel at that marker. You're all lined up and ready to go. The next step is to go max throttle. It can take time for your arc to fully expand once your trajectory reaches all the way around the planet. Here's the most important thing to remember about setting up an orbit above an atmosphere. Your periapsis. Keep your eye on your trajectory for now, and I'll tell you if your periapsis is safely out of the atmosphere.
Bello. Chiusa. Dai.
Okay, your orbit is fully out of the You did it! You're in orbit! This is when I usually tell you to look under your seat in the simulator, where you'd find...
Ma con te, questi grassi, non li vado via. Tutti sono tutti a fare esercizio, come me. Le orbite sono strane, vabbè.
Orbits are weird. Remember your orbiting baseball? What if you wanted to make its orbit higher? Well, it's a baseball, so grab your bat and try to hit the ball to a higher orbit. Your first thought might be to try to deflect the ball upwards. Unfortunately, hitting the ball upward bends its orbit so that it hits the ground before it can return to you. What you need to do is hit the ball in the direction it's already moving, adding to its already high velocity. Now that you've sped the ball up, why isn't it flying any higher? It just keeps whizzing by at the same height it always did. After all, I said that making it go faster would make it go higher. What gives? The ball is actually going higher, but it's going higher on the opposite side of the planet from where you're standing. You've raised its orbit, and you've learned the first lesson of orbital maneuvering. Your actions affect the opposite side of your orbit. Weird, huh? So your ball is moving faster, but it's still passing you at the same height. How do you get its orbit higher on this side of the planet? Now that you know how changes in velocity affect the other side of your orbit, you've got all you need. By adding velocity to the ball at the highest point in its orbit, you raise the lowest point in its orbit and make it circular again. orbit is good, but if you want to travel beyond Kerbin, you will need to manipulate your orbit. Let's start with something simple, expanding an orbit. We do that by increasing the value of our apoapsis. Let's get a good view. Remember how you circularized your orbit by increasing your forward velocity? To raise your orbit, you'll just do more of the same. It's time to burn prograde.
Oh vai. Cagato. Ho fatto uno spuntino. E si va avanti. Allora. Ricordi di non dare circolarizzato la velocità. Date la velocità in avanti per espandere per ripetere questa operazione, eccetera. Molto di lei.
Now that we're pointed the right way, we can increase the throttle and watch our orbit expand. Cut the throttle. If you overdo it, you'll leave Kerbin nice. That maneuver raised our orbit on the other side of Kerbin, so we will enter high orbit there. Waiting to reach a specific point can be as eventful as watching the neon stripes on your rover dry. The paint job will be worth it, but isn't it better to rush to the end? Skip ahead to the good stuff using a time warp.
Ok.
Like I said earlier, the highest point of our orbit is called the apoapsis. The lowest point of our orbit is known as the periapsis. By default, your camera is focused on your vessel, so if you can't see either of these points, adjust your camera. Scroll the middle mouse wheel to zoom in. Excellent! You can time warp to any position on your trajectory by selecting a point on your vehicle's current path, and then selecting Time Warp to Point.
Ah, ok.
Now you're way up in the sky. So high that if you circularize your orbit now, you'll be in high orbit. From command pods to space cores, a lot of critical rocket parts use electric. Most rocket solar panels. Just kidding. There's a handy button that opens all of them with a single click. Give it a try.
Pulsante puoi aprire tutti I pannelli solari in un solo clic. Senza poi un pannello solare.
Great! The solar panels are now extended. Light tracking solar panels only rotate on one axis, so we may need to reorient our ship to point them fully at the sun. Let's make sure the panels are getting direct sunlight by rolling our ship a little bit. Excellent. The solar panels are soaking up all of those sweet photons and giving our rocket some much-needed EC. You can see the status of any solar panel within the part manager in the electrical parts menu. You can either access the app directly by clicking the app button, or you can right-click a part to directly access it in the part manager. Getting EC is one thing, and storing it is another. Most command pods have a small battery, but many missions will call for additional EC storage. When we're traveling far from the sun or going to the dark side of a planet, more batteries means more peace of mind.
Bella fava, anche le batterie.
Have you seen our R&D building? Our brilliant scientists are constantly developing new technologies. New technology means new parts to play with. Exciting, right? There is one teeny catch. For scientists, that's where we earn science by completing missions and performing experiments. Feel free to visit. Experiments are performed at research locations, a combination of place and situation. Experiments are performed by special experiment. But Paige, you say, it's as easy as that. By the way, if you ever want to perform a specific experiment, the research inventory shows there are two types of research reports. Data and sample data reports can be transmitted back to KSC. Sample reports will need to be returned by recovering your vehicle on Kerbin. Fortunately, we just got a data report, so let's transmit it.
Nando. Non devo trasmettere il rapporto. Ah, trasmetti tutto.
Transmitting requires both electric charge, EC, and an antenna to communicate back to KSC. If you're ever planning a one-way mission for science, make sure you have both. At some point, the crew will run out of snacks. Did you know a Kerbal is 99.9% more likely to crash when hungry? That's when it's time to head back down to Kerbin, a planet known for its plentiful snack options. First, let's get a better... Remember how we burned prograde to raise our orbit? To lower our orbit, we burn in the opposite direction, retrograde. SAS can really help us out here, so let's turn that on. Now flip retrograde, the opposite. All right, the rocket is aligned to retrograde.
Progrado.
Increase the throttle and burn until our trajectory is just past the atmosphere. As we decelerate, watch what's happening to our periapsis. Once it enters the atmosphere, this rocket is on a path back to the ground. Don't ease off the throttle yet, though. We're going to keep burning until our trajectory intercepts the ground. This should give us a good... That's it! Let's stop our burn.
Qua.
Now that we're on a collision course with Kerbin, we need to turn that collision into something more survivable. This process of crashing without dying is called landing. Our upcoming stage will activate a decoupler, dropping the engine and exposing a very important heat shield. Why don't you do that now? Great! We're on our way down and our heat shield is exposed. Have you ever... Okay, we're about to descend very quickly. Our friend, the atmosphere, doesn't like speeding, and it'll do The only thing keeping us from becoming a shooting star is the disc-shaped heat shield beneath our capsule. Lucky for us, this capsule is equipped with one. Let's start by... Right now, SAS is keeping the ship pointed retrograde, meaning the heat shield is facing forward. It's the only thing standing between our flammable crew and the white... Heat shields can take a beating, but they don't last forever. As it's cooked by the heat of re-entry, it sheds expendable layers of material called ablator. Once the ablator's all gone, the heat shield is as durable as a sheet of paper. Good thing you checked the durability before we took off, right? Let's watch the show.
Cazzo, guarda sta piscina.
Whew, that was intense. I'd sweat if I had any pores. Now our velocity is low enough to safely deploy the parachute. Go ahead.
Ancora diciamo, sono ancora 12.000, avete detto sui 10.000 di mira.
Let's savor this moment and make sure that our parachute fully deploys. If you want, you can use time warp to savor it quickly. Thanks to the heroic efforts of our heat shield, our parachute has fully deployed and our crew will land in the correct number of pieces. Mission accomplished.
C'è l'ultimo.
Orbital transfers. As you know, the faster you go, the higher your orbit gets. If you get moving fast enough, your orbit may cross the orbit of some other object, like a moon or a planet. The closest celestial body to Kerbin is the Mun. If you're looking for somewhere else to fly a rocket, the Mun is a good choice. The real trick to getting there is timing your departure so that the Mun captures your vehicle at its highest point. If you mistime your departure, you may miss the Mun entirely, which creates a lot of paperwork. Let's assume you've left at the right time and the Mun is there to meet you. As your vessel approaches the Mun, it enters a zone in which the Mun's gravitational influence on your orbit is stronger than Kerbin's. This zone is called the Mun's sphere of influence. You've had to go very quickly to escape Kerbin's gravity, much too fast for the Mun's low gravity to capture you. If you don't slow down, your vehicle will speed past the Mun and be flung farther into space. Remember what I said about paperwork? Once you're in the Mun's gravity well, the best way to slow down is to fire your engines backwards until your trajectory becomes a nice, stable orbit. Now you're a moon of the Mun! Ha!
Ci fa fare sta roba bellina. Che sta.
Our rocket is in orbit over Kerbin. We're going to create a maneuver plan to fit. Great! Now here's a new trick. We can select any object as a target in map view. Targeting gives us useful information and enables new tools. Once we've targeted a celestial body or other object in space, our maneuver will provide closest pass and plane angle information. This can be very helpful for meeting up with someone or something in space. Right now, our camera is following our vessel as it orbits Kerbin. Let's adjust our camera until we can see the Mun. Then, right-click to target it. We want to place this maneuver plan with two things in mind. First, the Mun is in motion. We can't aim our spacecraft where the Mun is right now. Instead, we have to aim where the Mun will be after our vehicle. Second, remember how increasing velocity raises the opposite side of our orbit? Since we're placing this maneuver plan where we intend, placing a maneuver plan usually involves making a best guess, and then fiddling with the maneuver until you get an intercept. Fortunately, you've got a crack navigator with you today. By my calculations, we'll want to put our maneuver here.
Apoapsidi. Che absidi dove cazzo è, scusa? Cazzo è? Ma sei a casa? Allora si gioca. Va bene, a chi vuoi giocare? No, corri. Vai. Già alle 9:15.
Da 20 minuti, allora aspetta dentro.
Arrivo.
Vai, grande.
Niente, quindi si ferma qui questa cosa. Si ricomincerà su Abigoni. E niente. Quindi boh, si può mettere in pausa sta merda. Torna al gioco e c'è il menu principale. Esci senza salvare? No, io voglio salvare. Centro addestramento, riprendere nel centro addestramento. Si può salvare o no? Esci dal gioco, esci dal menu principale. Ah no, salva la partita, cioè esci senza salvare e salva e esci. Esci. Questa live si interrompe. Che fumo. Che fumo? Fumo banana e cioccolato. Bel gioco, sì, no, sembra ma è bellino. Mi sposto su COD. Termina diretta ora.